Alright, buckle up, folks. We're diving into some of the sickest fights in anime history, and One Piece ain't holding back. The Wano arc has been straight up bonkers, but before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's throw it back and reminisce on some of the most epic battles this series has ever seen. So grab your popcorn and get ready, because here are our top 20 One Piece throwdowns. Number 20. Sanji vs. Jabra. The Straw Hats' fights against CP9 feature most of them kicking their abilities up a notch, and Sanji takes that literally. When the wolfish Jabra nearly kills Usup, Sanji arrives at the last second to save him and drop one badass line. While Sanji gets a few hits in, Jabra's Tekai makes his body incredibly durable, forcing Sanji to unveil a new technique, Diable Jam. By superheating his feet, Sanji can fry Jabra and send him to the bottom of the tower. It's a fight that sees Sanji at his most heroic and spices up his fighting style in a new way. Alright, let's jump right into the fight number 19. Here's Luffy. He's got his treasured straw hat, and he plunks it on Nami's head. She's crying, asking for help. And then, boom. Luffy goes head-to-head with this real nasty villain, Arlong. Arlong's a tough fish dude with teeth that grow back super fast and this scary sword. But guess what? Luffy doesn't back down. He gives Arlong a solid beating. And let me tell you, it's one of the most satisfying revenge scenes ever in the first part of One Piece. Seeing Nami's stuff smashed and Arlong's lair all wrecked. It's one of those moments that sticks with you, where us fans are right there with the Straw Hats, feeling it in our hearts. Number 18. Luffy and Aisa are zooming towards the Arc Maxim on Pierre. Robin wakes up and realizes she can't carry everyone up the stalk at once. Enel senses a new presence and wonders where it's been hiding. He jumps to the edge of the Arc Maxim and hears Luffy screaming for him. Nami rushes over to see Luffy all fired up and ready to fight back. Aisa and Pierre are hiding, watching nervously, with Aisa worrying about Luffy's safety. Nami tries to warn Luffy about Enel's powers, but Enel's stare silences her. Enel boasts about hearing Angel Island's movements and suggests they figure out their fate. Luffy questions Enel's claim of being a god, and Enel says he'll find out soon. As Enel charges up Thor, Luffy charges at him. The attack is unleashed, causing a huge hole in the walls. Luffy dodges it, surprising Nami and astonishing Enel. Enel then unleashes 60 million volt Jambool, hitting Luffy this time. But when the smoke clears, Luffy's unharmed. Enel teleports in front of Luffy and uses 100 million volt Vari, but it does nothing. Nami realizes Luffy's rubber body makes him immune to Enel's electric attacks. Luffy's had enough and charges at Enel, landing a damaging kick. Nami realizes Luffy might be Enel's natural enemy, as neither physical nor lightning attacks seem to work on him. Number 17. Luffy's showdown with Crocodile was a real nail-biter that went on for quite a while. In their first face-off in the desert, Luffy threw everything he had at Crocodile, but it was like hitting a brick wall. Crocodile's sand powers made him practically invincible, but Luffy's no quitter. He learned from his mistakes and figured out a way to make his attacks work by wetting them down. The battle reached its peak when Luffy went all out, even cutting his own fists to land some serious blows on Crocodile. He was determined to beat this big shot of the sea. And boy, did he deliver. Luffy slammed Crocodile into the underground ceiling and pummeled him with punch after punch until Crocodile went flying through the surface of Alabasta's capital city, showing everyone who's boss. Number 16. One of the absolute best battles in One Piece happened during the Thriller Bark arc, where the Straw Hat Pirates had to team up to face Oars, the giant reanimated by Moria using shadow powers from his devil fruit. Moria made sure to stick Luffy's shadow into Oars, making him super strong. Dealing with Oars was no walk in the park for the Straw Hats. Even when they pooled their strength, they found it tough to take him down. But what made this fight stand out was how it brought the whole crew together. Usually, each member fights their own battles, but this time, they fought as one. It was a rare sight that fans loved, and it gave us some unforgettable moments. In the end, the entire crew worked together to bring down Oars, with Luffy landing the final blow. It was teamwork at its finest and a battle we won't be forgetting anytime soon. Number 15. The clash between Luffy and Usup stands out as one of the most heart-wrenching fights in the whole story. After journeying together for years, watching them go in it was tough for fans. What made this fight really stand out wasn't just the punches thrown, but the raw emotion and hurt it brought. Usup fought bravely for the Mary, but Luffy had to knock him down to keep their journey going. It was a painful moment for everyone involved. Coming in at number 14 is the unexpectedly charming Kizer, who has a little fun with 4 of the supernovas. Basil Hawkins, Uruj, X-Drake, and Scratchman Apu. The Marine Admiral makes quite the entrance, riding a cannonball like it's no big deal. His laid-back vibe, blank stare, and pretending to struggle with a Den Mushi throw everyone off guard. Unlike admirals with clear principles like Aokiji or the strict Akano, Kizaru's beliefs are a mystery, adding to his menacing aura. With his power over light, he effortlessly messes around with the rookie pirates, ruining their reputations in the process. What's puzzling is his lack of interest in finishing them off. Number 13. In the Dressrosa arc, Zoro goes head-to-head with Pika, one of the top dogs in the Don Quixote pirates. Pika's big mistake. Underestimating Zoro big time. He figures only Luffy and God Usup are the real threats in the Straw Hat crew, completely overlooking Zoro, the second strongest member. Right off the bat, Pika's stone fruit powers, which let him reshape landscapes and turn into a massive stone golem, set the stage for an epic battle. But let's be real here. When you're facing someone like Pika, who's all about sneaky moves and targeting the weak spots, Zoro's got the upper hand. And when Zoro finally slices Pika in half, it's a major moment. Turns out he uses the same move he pulled on Dracula Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman. It's a clear sign of Zoro's incredible growth since their first encounter. But wait, there's more. Zoro infuses his 3 swords with Haki, a new concept that gets explored more in the New World. This adds a whole new level of significance to the fight, making it way more than just your average showdown in the series. Number 12. To save the captain of the 2nd Division, Whitebeard and his lead an all-out assault on Fire Fist Ace's execution day, and is charging through the battlefield himself like the human earthquake that he is. Trying to stop him is one of the more callous Marines within the One Piece world, the strong believer of justice at any cost, Admiral Akai Sakazuki, who, like other Marines, believes that Ace's execution is a message to the entire pirate world, that the world government stands above all else. What ensues is a fast-paced, incredibly dynamic fight that sees Akai put Whitebeard through one of the grittier moments in the manga. Let's say that the anime burns just half of Whitebeard's mustache, and Whitebeard shatters and buries the red dog of the Marines. Number 11. The rematch between the Red Scabbards and the big boss Kaido was a long time coming. These 9 warriors came back after 20 years to free their homeland from that big, scary dragon. They fought with all they had, but let's face it, Kaido's just too darn powerful. Still, they didn't back down. They even hit him with Odin's special jewel sword attack, showing their guts till the very end. Real samurai spirit, you know. Now, on to Dressrosa. Luffy and Law go head-to-head with Doflamingo, and boy, is it a wild ride. Law's out for revenge after Doflamingo offed his mentor, Rosinante. This fight shakes things up big time. Luffy and Law take on Doflamingo, who's no pushover. He's got the world government and a Yonko backing him up. Their battle splits the Marines, making everyone question what's really right. And talk about a showdown. Luffy, Law, and Doflamingo pull out all the stops, showing off their best moves. Plus, we get to see the Devil Fruit's awakened form for the first time. Number 10. Man, that battle against Doflamingo in the anime was something else. It had so many stages and epic moments, but one part really stands out. After all that build-up, Luffy and Law finally face off against the guy pulling all the strings. And when do they find out? Doflamingo can make string clones of himself. But then we get this awesome moment where Luffy charges in with his Red Hawk attack, ready to lay the smackdown. And just when you think he's got Doflamingo cornered, Law pulls a sneaky move and switches places with the real deal at the last second. That was the first big hit that smug villain took, and man, seeing his smirk wiped off his face was so satisfying. It was the moment we'd all been waiting for in that long, epic battle. Number 9. The Wano arc is shaping up to be one of the best in the series, and it's already giving us one of the greatest fights in One Piece history. Princess Hayori is trying her best to get herself and Toko to safety, but they're cornered by Kamazo the Manslayer, Orochi's secret assassin. But guess who steps in to save the day? None other than Zoro himself. Now, this wasn't your run-of-the-mill battle. Zoro and Kamazo went at it tooth and nail, blades clashing in a fierce showdown. And let me tell you, while the manga did a good job, it's the anime that really knocked it out of the park. The animation was top-notch, bringing every moment of this epic fight to life in a way that'll give you goosebumps. Number 8. In One Piece, our main man Luffy isn't afraid to take a beating, but his showdown with Katakuri took it to a whole new level. To buy his crew some time to escape Whole Cake Island, Luffy found himself trapped in Broly's Miro world with Big Mom's second son, Katakuri. Now this guy was on a whole different level. His advanced observation haki let him see into the future, which combined with his Mochi Mochi devil fruit powers made him practically unbeatable. He could dodge anything and shape-shift his body for offense and defense. The battle between Luffy and Katakuri lasted over 12 grueling hours, while the Straw Hats dealt with Big Mom's chaos and made their getaway. Luffy's armament haki and rubber powers just couldn't match up to Katakuri's advanced armament and shape-shifting Mochi moves. But here's the kicker. Luffy refused to stay down. Despite being on the ropes for most of the fight, he used the intense situation and tough opponent to level up his own haki skills. When the dust settled and they both threw their final punches in their ultimate forms, something unexpected happened. Both fighters gained a deep respect for each other. Katakuri even wished Luffy luck in taking down Big Mom one day. Now that's what I call a battle of respect. Number 7. In the epic showdown between Queen, one of Kaido's top dogs, and Sanji, the Wonder Boy with those genetic upgrades, things get seriously heated. When Sanji slips into the Germa Raid suit, it's like a switch flips and all of his hidden powers burst out. Unlike Zoro or Luffy, Sanji hasn't had as many power-ups before, but this time it's a game changer. He can take a hit to the head like it's nothing and even shatters Queen's sword. But here's the kicker. Instead of relying on the suit, Sanji decides to kick it to the curb. He cooks up a brand new move, the Ifrit Jame, a souped-up version of his Diable Jame. With his newfound powers and armament haki, he's like a blazing inferno on the battlefield. Those flames, named after the fiery djinn from Arabic stories, seem to come straight from the depths of hell itself. And let me tell you, Queen's zone-type Brachiosaurus body with all those cybernetic upgrades doesn't stand a chance against Sanji's fiery fury. Sure, this clash might not steal the spotlight like Zoro's showdown with King, but seeing Sanji move with that newfound speed is nothing short of breathtaking. We're all on the edge of our seats, waiting to see what lightning-fast moves Sanji pulls off next. Number 6. Nico Robin isn't exactly known for her fighting skills in One Piece. Sure, she had a big showdown with Yama back in Skypiea, but after that, it's been mostly minor scuffles, like the one with Hammond on Fishman Island. But then came the Wano Country arc and everything changed. Robin faced off against Black Maria, a member of the Tabarapo, and let me tell you, she was tough. Black Maria pretty much had the upper hand the whole time with her mad skills. But here's where it gets interesting. Robin pulled out not one, but 2 new moves, the Grande Fleur and the Demonio Fleur. With these tricks up her sleeve, she turned the tables on Black Maria and took her down hard. It was a real crushing victory for Robin. Finally, she got her chance to shine in battle once again. Number 5. The showdown between Luffy and Lucci had it all. Epic power-ups, heart-wrenching drama, and Luffy going all out for the win. It's easily one of the best fights in the One Piece anime. Ever since Robin was introduced in Alabasta, her mysterious past had us all hooked. And when she had that tearful, I want to live moment, it hit us right in the feels. It was the catalyst for Luffy and the Straw Hats to declare war on the world government once and for all. With Luffy's recent defeats by Kuzan and Lucci, the stage was set for him to come back swinging. Lucci's mastery of Rokushiki martial arts and his fierce leopard form made him one of the most ruthless villains yet. He beat down on Luffy like nobody's business, and his 6-king gun attack was no joke. With flashbacks showing his brutal past, his threats against Luffy's crew felt all too real. But just when things seemed hopeless, Usup stepped up, shedding his Sojiking disguise to give Luffy the encouragement he needed. And with that final push, Luffy, along with his voice actress Mayumi Tanaka, delivered the most satisfying defeat against Enies Lobby's toughest foe. It was a victory we won't soon forget. Number 4. One of the best fights in One Piece during the Wano arc happened right on the rooftop of Onigashima. It was an epic showdown where Luffy, Law, Kid, Killer, and Zoro, the worst generation, joined forces against the 2 Yonko, Kaido, and Big Mom. Fans were thrilled to see the new generation go up against the old guard. Luffy started things off with a bang, unleashing a powerful Red Rock attack. From there, the action only got more intense with each passing chapter. Eventually, the worst generation managed to split up the Yonko and take them on in individual battles. In the end, Luffy took down Kaido all by himself, while Kid and Law teamed up to defeat Big Mom. As for Zoro and Killer, they had their hands full too. Killer went up against Hawkins, while Zoro faced off against King. It was a nail-biting showdown from start to finish. Alright, let's dive into the top 3 now. In the grand line, every pirate out there's got one goal in mind, becoming the freaking Pirate King. And you know what? The right-hand folks like Luffy's main dude Zoro and Kaido's big shot king, they're all in on it too. They're ready to throw down and make sure their captains reach the top, and that's what's fueling this epic showdown. It's gonna be wild. Number 3. Zoro's showdown with King in the Wano Country arc was a long time coming. And let me tell you, when these two finally went head-to-head, it was anything but boring. Despite Zoro's strength, King dominated the battle, and even Zoro's own sword, Enma, refused to cooperate. But Zoro didn't back down. Eventually, he managed to get a handle on his sword and unleash the maximum amount of haki through it. With both Ryu and Conqueror's haki coursing through his swords, Zoro became an unstoppable force, and even though King was powerful, he couldn't take Zoro down. It was an epic clash that showed just how far Zoro had come. Number 2. In the Wano Country arc, Trafalgar Law and Eustace Kid teamed up to take on Big Mom, one of the Yonko. Now this fight was a bit of a mixed bag for fans. On one hand, the action was pretty darn exciting, and seeing Law and Kid bust out their new abilities was a real thrill. But here's where things get tricky. Big Mom, being a Yonko and all, didn't quite live up to her reputation in this fight. She barely used her powerful haki, which left a lot of fans scratching their heads. And the fact that she couldn't use Conqueror's haki seemed a bit too convenient for Law and Kid, if you ask me. Plus, Law and Kid seemed to shrug off any damage Big Mom threw their way, which kind of took away from the tension of the fight. But hey, there were still some decent action sequences in there, and while it might not be the best One Piece fight ever, it still did the job for some fans. Number 1. Without a doubt, Luffy's clash against Kaido remains one of the very best fights in One Piece to date, and will potentially go down as the greatest fight in the entire story. On the rooftop of Onigashima, Luffy showcased his newfound abilities against the Yonko and managed to fight him in a toe-to-toe battle. To make things even better, Luffy lost to Kaido twice on the rooftop, dying once in the process, which massively increased the stakes. The fight between the two sees some of the very best action in all of One Piece, along with some of the most hyped transformations. Luffy eventually managed to awaken his devil fruit and tap into the power of Gear 5th against Kaido. Carrying the burden of an entire country and the promises to his friends on his shoulders, Luffy put his life on the line to take him down.